Exercise 8.1 is asking us to create a cash collections budget. Now, before we begin, I need you to remember that the information they give us is that we collect 20% the month we make the sale, okay? We collect, and this is right out of the book, and they collect 70% the next month and 10% the third month. Okay, we need to have that information. So every month we're going to be collecting 20% of this month's sales, 70% of last month's sales, and 10% of the sales from 2 months ago. So although we're doing July, August, and September, because we have this 2-month collection period after the month of the sale, we need 3 months of information. So they give us May data and June data so that we can figure it out. So we know that in July, we're going to collect 10% of May's sales. So that's $43,000. We know that we're going to collect 70% of June's sales, and that's $378,000. And we're going to collect in July 20% of July's sales, and that's $120,000. Okay, so for July, we're going to collect $541,000. That's 10% of May's sales, it's 70% of June's sales, and it's 20% of July's sales. Now, while we have July handy, let's just focus on that. Let me draw your attention to July. Okay, so here's July's sales, and we're going to collect that $600,000, 20%, 70%, 10%. So let's just write that right across here. I'm just going to highlight all of July sales in pink so you can see what I'm talking about. So we're going to collect 70% of July in August. So 70% of 600,000 is 420,000. And we're going to collect the last 60,000 in September. So we're collecting our 600,000, but we're collecting it based over that staggered period. Okay, in August, we're going to collect the remainder of the sales from June, so that's 54,000. And in August, we're going to collect 20% of August sales, and 20% of 900,000 is 180,000. Another zero. So in August, we're going to collect $654,000 altogether. Some of it from July, some of it from June, some of it from August. Okay, let me highlight the August sales in yellow so we can follow that through. Okay, so here's going to be our August sales. So we collected our 10%, or yeah, I'm sorry, our 20% of August in August. We're going to collect 70%, that's 630,000 of August in September. And we're going to collect the other 10% over here in October. Off the page, we're not asked to do that yet. So we're collecting 810,000 of those sales. And you can just carry these totals across, and I'll show you why I like to do that. This adds up to 432,000. And this is simply the 43,000. Okay. Now, we're also going to collect in September 20% of September sales, and we'll put that in orange. And 20% of that is 100,000. So in September, we're going to collect 790,000, but that is only 20% of September sales, 70% of August sales, and the remaining 10% of July's sales. Okay, and altogether for September we collect 100. Now the reason I like to do this is I set these up using Excel, and no matter how you add, whether you add over or down, you should come up with the same number, and I do add both to make sure. Now, the next part of this question, they ask us how much is in accounts receivable. That's the next part of this question that they're asking us to do. Well, let's figure that out. We can do that easy enough. The accounts receivable as of September 30th is 10% of August sales, because that's all that's left, right? 10%. That's 90,000. And 70% of September sales, okay, plus the other 10% of September sales. Because remember, we collected over 3 months. So we have 70% of September sales. That's 350,000. And the 10% that we're going to collect the next month following, that's 50. So our balance in accounts receivable, $490,000. Okay?